time.
It's 11. It's the busiest time. We are getting into near the new crop, so it's quite crazy.
You are, because
the production will start in about two weeks, so it's
an
busy.
intense time for you. I just want to say that Filip is part of a Bulgarian rose distillation process, and you represent Enio Bonchev,
yes,
Bulgarian rose production and lavender production. And if you can tell me a little bit about what you said before about your relationship.
Okay. I'm Filip, and I'm the owner and CEO of Enio Bonchev Production Limited. Our company is one of the main producers in Bulgaria of rose and lavender essential oils. We've been doing this for over 100 years. When my great-grandfather, Enio Bonchev, started with building one of the first distilleries in Bulgaria.
Is your great-great-great-grandfather?
It's my great-grandfather. I'm the fourth generation of rose producers in our family. Of course, there was a gap during the communist years when our factory was taken by the government, but we rebuilt the business and we restarted in 1992. Yes, and now today, as I say, we have 4 own factories. We have our own fields, which are all certified organic, approximately 100 hectares of rose and lavender plantations.
Incredible.
I'm also the vice chairman of our Bulgarian National Association for Essential Oil, Perfumery and Cosmetics. And rose and lavender, this is my passion and dream.
Oh, it's your lucky. Some people have to be doctors. You get to run rose fields. I mean, it's just wonderful. It's a dream. It's a dream job. It sounds like a dream job. So, your company produces lavender and rose oil. And you said your fields are about 160 hectares.
100 hectares, 100.
100 hectares. So that would be, just so I could make the analogy, that's probably like 100 fields, football fields for us to imagine.
The production is in rose is in May and June, while lavender is in July. So everything in the area smells rosy during the time, and it's very beautiful. We also have a lot of tourists coming to Bulgaria every year to join the different festivities and just to experience the Bulgarian rose.
Is there like a rose festival or something?
There is a rose, yes, there is a rose festival, which is in the city of Kazanlak, which is the nearest city in our area. It's usually in the first weekend of June, and they organize all kinds of different festivities. We also have our own local rose festival at our factories, where tourists come and they can see the true production, not only as a tourist attraction, but they get to see how the rose oil is produced. And outside of that, we have started organizing professional tours whose goal is to educate the industry, the people who work in this industry, about the secrets and the truth of Bulgarian rose. These are 5 days
5-day
tour,
tours, isn't it?
5 days,
and they're very intense, but they're also beautiful foods, I think, to explore as well.
Yes, it's in the peak of harvest. You stay at the best hotels Bulgaria has. You eat the local cuisine, so it's a great experience for people who want to join, to learn about Bulgaria, or to see Bulgaria as well. Many of these people come, they stay after the tour to go around to see our Black Sea mountains. Bulgaria is a beautiful country.
And it's set in like between Greece, Turkey and Serbia, sort of.
And yes, and Romania, close to Romania.
And Romania. So it sort of sounds Mediterranean, but also European. You get the best of both worlds.
Yes, we're Balkans, so we have the hot Balkan blood. We are Bulgaria is part of the European Union. It's a very safe country,
Yeah.
so we don't have anything to worry about. But at the same time, I think it's one of the undiscovered jewels which is
Ah,
still left. You go. I'm a fisherman. I go to the mountains and you see some. Still, you can see some virgin places
oh, wow.
where there is no civilization. So it's we have
Beautiful.
unspoiled
One
nature.
day. Hopefully one day, Philip, I'll come on one of these tours. But coming back to the rose production, like I've got a sample here, or not a sample, I actually paid very good money for this. This is only 5 mils of Rose Otto, pure Rose Otto, undiluted, because usually rose comes diluted for most people in a 3%, so it's affordable. But this pure, this is the Damascena I've bought. And you also have an Alba, Rosa
Yes.
Alba. So what
Rosa,
is that? You've chosen 2 roses to produce.
Rosa Damascena is the main type, the main variety which is grown in Bulgaria. This is the rose which makes the famous Bulgarian rose oil. Rosa Alba is the white rose, which is not so popular, and we have a very small production of the white rose. So the main one, I would say, which grows in Bulgaria over 95% is the Rosa Damascena.
Yeah,
Rosa Alba has a little bit more gentle, feminine aroma, but production is very limited because the yield is not
it's
as good as the Damascena. You can make 1 kilogram of Rosa Damascena oil from about 3.5 tons of rose flowers, fresh rose flowers.
cool. Oh,
While,
that's the whole
while
flowers, just the petals.
just the petals, but
Just the petals.
you pick them with you don't pick just the petals, you pick them with the cup. So
With a cup.
I mean, you don't pick the petal by petal
Oh,
separately, you pick the whole flower.
okay, okay. And
um,
so we usually say, I don't know, maybe I have to work backwards, but we usually say that like a dozen roses will make 1 drop of Rose Otto.
well, as I say, you make a kilo of rose oil from 3,500 kilograms of flowers. For the white rose, you need more than 6 tons. So this is nearly double the amount, and this is one of the reasons why also the white rose is not so much grown in Bulgaria.
And the price would reflect that.
And the price does reflect absolutely.
And
Today's market is very much oriented on price, and I would say it's you have to be very careful.
and your company, which has started, hundreds, within hundreds of years or whatever, it's you've seen a growth since when have you seen like a real market growth in your company?
Well, I would say we restarted in 1993. So
And
just to go back a little bit back in time, my great grandfather started production in 1909. So he was not one of the biggest producers. I would say he was in the top 5 producers at that time. He passed away in 1939. During this time, he had very good market for rose oil. He was dealing with companies in France, England, like Yardley, Sheary's, Sunlight. Some of them are not existent today, but for that time, they were I would say the top brands. He was a very well-educated man who graduated from the Robert College
I was
and then
reading
traveled all around.
that.
Yes, then he traveled all around Europe to make these connections. In 1947, the factory was taken by the government, and in the next 45 years, it was in the possession of the Bulgarian government. So our family did not did not work, did not have it. It's very interesting, in a very sad story. We didn't even know, me and my parents, we didn't know about the existence of this place. My grandparents did not, were afraid to mention to my parents about the factory. So in 1992, it came as a surprise to our family.
How did you find out?
Well, after 1990, after the fall of the communist regime, democracy, you could actually start talking. Before that, you could not listen to the Rolling Stones or to the Beatles. You could not have long hair. So you go to prison for these things. You laugh, but this was the reality.
It's a reality that we don't understand here in Australia.
You have no idea. People were going to concentration camps for just being different.
Absolutely.
Luckily, my grandparents had kept all the documentation, and for less than a year, we received the property back, which was like a museum. It had not worked for over 25 years because it was working for the government until 1967, then decided to close it down.
They had it for about 20 years or more, 40 years.
They were in possession for 45 years.
45 years.
But it worked only for the first 20. After that, they just used it for a place to go and relax. The government leaders will go there and they have their own parties. It's in a very beautiful area, and this is what saved us, because all the other factories, all the other rose oil factories, which belong to other families, even bigger than my great-grandfather, everything was destroyed. So the people received empty land, but no factory. And we received a museum, which was, I would say, old-fashioned. So we had to renovate this factory. We had to modernize it, and we slowly started production of rose essential oil. At that time, I was studying in the US and came back to Bulgaria in 1997. And since then, I'm very, very actively involved in the business.
Very active. It sounds like on all fronts you're quite active, Filip. On the wall, quite famous.
Well, so this is, as I said, this is our passion. We don't have any other business, so we wake up our family. We wake up and we go to sleep with the rose. The reality is that this is the production of rose in Bulgaria is in the middle of the country, in the so-called Rose Valley. And unfortunately, this is one of the poorest areas in Bulgaria. Yes.
Right. And you employ about 35 permanent staff?
We have about 35 permanent people working at the factory during the year, although the factory is operating only 3 months out of 12. But the rest of the time, you have a lot of other work on maintenance of factory fields and so on. Of course, we have an administrative office in Sofia where I'm based. And in addition to these 35 people, we have anywhere between 300 and 500 seasonal workers, because rose is picked by hand only. It's a big challenge.
It's picked between May and June. You have 2 months of picking?
Less than 2 months. You start in first week of May usually, and you're finished by middle of June. So the total harvest is not more than 30-35 days.
And what can you produce in that time of essential oil?
Bulgaria's production today is nearly 3 tons of rose essential oil.
3 tons?
Yes. Our company has a market share of approximately 10-15%. So there are 4 or 5 big companies like ours who produce, I would say, 60-70% of the total production of Bulgaria.
It's hard work. I imagine it's hard work to maintain the fields as well, and to keep the soil and have a sustainable business.
Rose is a very, very delicate plant, and especially when you grow it organically, there are very little things you can do. So it's a very difficult job to grow organic rose. This is the reason why there aren't many producers in Bulgaria who grow organically the roses. Most of the people in Bulgaria do conventional rose, natural, but not many, if any, do the organic rose. We've started with the organic rose in 1998, and we continue now for 20 years. If you look only at the financial side, it's not worth it. But for us, it's not only the money; it's a lot of other things. It's the pleasure of seeing how roses grow, and for doing something which other think it's impossible. Because to grow roses, organic roses, at an area of 50 hectares, it's a big. Today, what makes our company different from other companies, or what the good companies do and should do, is educate. This is the reason why we're doing this study tour in Bulgaria, to educate the people about the use of rose and lavender, the specifics of the product, not sell the product telling lies or missing information.
Safe advice.
Excuse me?
Do you feel they're also giving unsafe advice, recommendation?
Well, I'm not a customer, so I don't know. But what are the rumors on the market and what people are complaining about? And I think that it's also the job of the, especially in the US, of the government and the different authorities to put the proper regulations, because aromatherapy has become a major user of essential oils. It's not only the fine fragrance which is using the rose and lavender, but it's going more into aromatherapy, into foods. So you can imagine what impact it can have on people if it is not used properly. We have been going now for 5 years through registration for REACH. REACH is a regulation for safety, and you need, if you're producing any product which contains certain allergens over 1 ton, you need to go through this registration. It's a costly and very difficult to do. So this has to be the aromatherapy market has to be regulated. Before,
and I don't think it is at the moment worldwide.
It's not at all. It's not at all. Because when I used to hear aromatherapy, I imagine the well-educated man or lady who has close to my knowledge about the product, and who is sharing this knowledge and using the true properties of the essential oil for the benefit of the people. But this is not popcorn to go and sell. It's not popcorn. It's a very, very special product where you have to be. It's not most of the essential oils are not okay for direct use. You need to dilute. These are extremely strong and powerful products. Extremely strong and powerful.
They need to be respected. I think
they have to be respected. Absolutely.
There's an overuse almost of essential oils, and they're not being used in a way that they will be sustainable, because
exactly sustainable is the word. Yes, this is not a sustainable business. This is something which
like I'd hate to think that Rose.
Bulgaria has grown nowadays and is the biggest producer of lavender oil, surpassing France by times. Bulgaria is producing anywhere between Yes, yes. This is a secret which is also not well known, especially
Yes.
to regions away from Europe. But Bulgaria today is producing anywhere between 250 and 300 tons of lavender oil, compared to France, who's making anywhere between 50 and 70 tons. So this has happened only for 3 or 4 years. The issue here is that not all of the quality which is produced in Bulgaria is meeting the profile, the standard profile for true traditional Bulgarian lavender. This is because
So does it have a high linalool acetate or linalool as well?
well, the traditional lavender oil in Bulgaria has a high linalool acetate and lower linalool. The one which is produced in northern Bulgaria, which was never a typical producer or area for production of lavender. Also, the sorts which are planted there, which in many times are of unknown origin. So people are just randomly planting lavender because of the high market demand. This is leading to a quality which does not meet ISO standard or anything else. But aromatherapy standard, it's meeting. And unfortunately, it's meeting because there is no such standard. And it is just at this moment it is sold successfully simply because of the use in aromatherapy. How
also the
long
perfume industry, wouldn't they be using the rose and the lavender in the perfume industry?
Of course, fine fragrance, but you look for quality. While, as I said, the new areas, new production areas of lavender in Bulgaria are not producing the traditional quality.
And you produce an absolute rose. Coming back to the essential oil, you produce an absolute rose and also a steam distilled rose.
Yes. The difference is in the method of production. The rose absolute is produced by extraction, solvent extraction, while the rose oil is produced by steam distillation. Another key product for us also is rose water, which we produce in 2 of our factories, which has unbelievable qualities if it is produced in the proper way. And it doesn't have the properties of the pure hydrosol, of the pure rose water, which is produced by distillation of the flowers. So you have to be very, very careful today. You ask how to know what you're buying. Well, for me, always the personal contact has been one of the most important things. Yes, the reputation of one or another company is important, but I always advise when we have potential customers coming to visit Bulgaria that they should go to as many factories as they want or they can visit during their time in order to meet the people, to get a feeling of who is doing what. Because it's one thing to check the information on the web page. It's another thing to meet the real people, to talk to them, to see what they're doing, how they're doing.
Public, we or aromatherapists, we may be educated enough to ask the right questions from our suppliers.
Absolutely. Ask the right questions is also. Again, I come back to the study tour, but this is the idea that such study tour
promote that study tour.
This study tour should tell you what questions you need to ask in order to find out whether your producer is producing
genuine and has integrity. Yes. But the public can't buy from you.
Well, the public we don't sell to directly to the public. We sell only in bulk. So yes, we cannot supply the public.
In Australia, we have Aroma where we can get your product.
You have ABP,
Australian Medical Products.
ABP, who is our exclusive partner for Australia, and you can buy
So
our
who would
pure.
it be? Yeah, sorry to interrupt. And who would it be in America? Who do you
We
have?
don't have any. Australia is the only part of the world where we have an exclusive distributor. In all other countries, we work directly with customers, with cosmetics, flavors and fragrance, aromatherapy,
We're very
pharmaceutical
fortunate.
companies.
We're very fortunate. We've got that as a a company that will supply. The rose hydrosol, I just wanted to just clarify for people, the rose hydrosol is a co-product of when you produce or distill the rose essential oil. Yes? Because a lot of people don't know where rose hydrosol is what we call it here. So they don't know that sort of thing.
Let me explain, clarify. In Bulgaria, generally, the producers, what is the general practice is after rose oil is produced, the leftover, the byproduct, is called rose water. Our company has a different technology, so we have a dedicated factory for rose water production. So when we are producing rose water, we're not producing the oil. All the oil is inside. So you have a product with a very high content of essential oil, which is stable. The rose oil plays the role of a natural preservative. This is a very different product than what is on the general market. Shelf life is 18 months. So it's a very, I would say, very stable, with good aroma, very strong product. We also have another advantage, that we produce our rose water in our original distillery, which was built by my great-grandfather, where you have the copper steels, not the stainless steel like the new modern factories. You have the copper steel, and also you have the old-fashioned direct fire water distillation. So there is no steam passing through the steels, but the steels are heated by heaters. So inside the steels you have boiling of the water and flowers. So it's
sorry to interrupt. Just to clarify, are the flowers, the petals, the rose petals, or the lavender flowers, they placed in the water?
Yes. This is not the lavender. Lavender is a different process. Don't confuse the rose with the lavender. But the roses, yes, in both ways, they're always soaked and they're in the water. But the difference is the heating of this water and flowers. Usually, you have in the new modern technology, you have steam passing through the flowers inside the steels. While with our old factory, where we could not put steam, you have from outside you have heaters who are heating the inside, which is water and flowers. So this gives this together with the copper steels, this gives a different, I would say, an aroma which you cannot get from a new modern factory. So this is also one of our secrets for the rose water, which we...
Does the copper, being copper, create a different, like, synergy?
Yes, different aroma. Yes, it's incomparable. The aroma is not comparable between the stainless steel and aroma steels.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I just, if people want to get more information about your products, they can go to your website and read more. And there's so much on Filip's website, even just to see, like, all the magazines that you've been interviewed in, and all the articles in the media, but I couldn't read them. They were not in English, but
they are in different languages. We have had during the years many people coming from different regions, but there are some in English as well. There is if you're passionate patient enough to go, you go back to a newspaper from 1923, I think.
Yes, I saw that article. I wish I could have read it, but it was...
Yes, this one is even in old Bulgarian language. It's not the...
Oh, look, I would have loved to have just savored, the information that was in all of them, but the website's full of information about each of your products and yield factors, and also some great, like, you give back to the community, I was reading, and I thought it was just such a beautiful...
For us, we have many different social projects which we do, and the people with whom we work, the farmers, they're part of our organization. So it's not only, as I say, it's not a business. This is the reason why I can say we are successful, and I view our company as a good model. While you have in Bulgaria different foreign companies, for them it's very difficult because the owner is not here. The owner is somebody staying behind the desk in Graz or New York, and it's much more difficult to be involved on the everyday level, which is, I would say, of key importance to being successful. Without the good local management, it's impossible to do. And I would like to add one of the big difficulties today is labor in Bulgaria, because roses are picked by hand only, and it's a huge challenge. You can even increase the land of your fields, but if you don't have people to pick, the roses will remain on the bush.
Yeah.
So it's really we're working very hard in that direction as well, in order to secure enough people, to motivate them to come. These are people who need to come. The difference between Australia and Bulgaria is that we have here zero support from the government. Zero support.
I don't think the government here gives that much support either. But
I mean, in terms of not support in terms of money. I mean, in terms of promotion, in terms of legislation. It's very, very difficult for example, to get students to work. I would say it's impossible according to the Bulgarian legislation. We have a rose is the Bulgarian gold. At the same time, we don't appreciate this. People from Japan, from Australia, from China, from the US, they dream they could have such a product. We have a jewel, which is, so many countries have tried to produce rose, and they cannot. God has blessed Bulgaria, and not Bulgaria, because if you go out of this Rose Valley, you go 50 kilometers north, south, east, or west, the oil which is produced there is not the same. The quality is not the same. So it's a very small, I would say, area, which you can go around for about 2 hours, and that's it. And the rose oil in other parts of Bulgaria you can produce, but the quality is very different than the standard quality of Bulgarian rose.
And that's why we as aromatherapists and maybe perfumery, and also the mainstream people are becoming more aware why we pay such a high price for a product like rose essential oil, because it is gold.
Yes.
And we call it the queen of the essential oils,
Absolutely.
and it needs to be given its due. There's a price.
Recognized. It has to receive the proper recognition. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You pick this flower. You can pick it only in the morning, starting from 5 o'clock until 11. Roses are not picked in the afternoon.
And that's because of why is that? Why is there such?
The morning is the time when the rose contains most dew. So this is when the oil is inside. You can pick the rose in the afternoon, but then your yield is not going to be to be as good.
So
Also, the
it's the
quality of the
highest.
oil,
So
it
it's
will
the
reflect on
highest
both.
yield of the essential oil from that time. All the
There's so many.
components are at their peak. Yeah.
Yes.
So I wanted to end off and thank you, but I also wanted you to show the wall of your pictures of the history of this amazing distillation and everything. And if you can just take us through that picture is on the website and it's just magical.
I show you this gentleman here is Enio Bonchev. This is my great grandfather. And he had a partner in the beginning, as you see here, the sign says Bonchev and Kidov. Kidov is this other gentleman. And after that, they separated and each one of them went his own way. And here also in my office, I have a photo. Here is Enio Bonchev at his younger age. Here, this is one of my favorite photos. It's, do you see it?
Yes.
This is Enio Bonchev and his representative in England. So the date here, if you look at closely, the date is 18th of July, 1931, and the photo was taken in Brighton.
Oh, in
England.
How divine.
This photo here is Enio Bonchev's warehouse for storage of rose oils, and we recognize it by the logo.
Those round things, Philip.
Excuse me?
What are those?
These are the typical containers. These are the typical containers, glass containers, where rose oil is stored before it is exported. It is stored in special glass container. Here you can see also Enio Bonchev at his fields, rose fields, with his nice car. Unfortunately, we didn't get back this car.
You didn't get
very unfortunately. This is his distillery, which, as I mentioned, has the copper stills and coolers, which today we're using for the rose water production.
Incredible.
And all these photos you can see on our webpage.
On your website, and I'll add those details for everyone to go to. And also about your professional Bulgaria study tour. The recent one, the one that's coming up is in May, but I think you're fully booked.
We're trying to turn this into an annual event. So just a couple of words about the tour. We're attracting anywhere between 20 and 40 people for 5 days. They're going around visiting not only our factory, but we're taking them to 4 other rose oil factories, which are producing the pure and natural rose oil and other essential oils as well. We're going to a cosmetics company in Bulgaria who is using rose. We're going to one very innovative flavors and fragrance house. We're meeting the mayor of the city of Kazanlak. We have a cocktail at the Kazanlak Rose Museum, so it's a beautiful experience. I'm taking 5 days off of the peak of my season to be able to be part of this tour, because I think it is truly important to be able to educate the industry people about rose. I think we are supported by the other main producers in Bulgaria, as well as our national association. So the idea is to make this as an annual event.
Is this the first time you're offering it?
Well, as in such a format, yes. Last year, it was organized by IFAT, our national association, and I was their local organizing chairman. So last year we did this for IFAT, but this actually motivated me to make it as a private owned project, and started together with my partner, who is involved on an everyday basis with this, and we're very actively promoting it in different social groups. Already for this year we have 25 people who have signed up, so I think.
And then you were saying before there's some from Australia coming.
Yes, the ABP is coming to join the tour as well. So if you want to learn about rose, if you want to see an exotic country like
Hands-on,
Bulgaria,
it sounds like.
this is the place to, or this is the tour to take. I always, when I go and when I travel, I always try to learn and to see the inside of the country from the local people. So not
And I think you
like
get to
tourists. So this is
yeah.
not your. This is not your touristic tour where you go to the places which are listed, on a TripAdvisor. This is the inside of Bulgaria.
This is really getting amongst it. And I think you even get to experience seeing what the pickers do, don't you?
We're going one day, we're visiting a house of rose pickers. We're going to their village, something which has not been done in Bulgaria before. So you get to see also their lifestyle and their problems. But this is the only way to truly understand how this product is produced and to understand why you pay such price for Bulgarian rose, what it costs us to produce this product. You're extremely lucky as an end consumer that it grows in Bulgaria, because if it was growing successfully in Switzerland, your price would have been triple or quadruple to what we are selling. Simply in Bulgaria, I would say it's still very much underestimated by government, by many people, but it's one of a kind. It's a product which there is no dispute or argument which country has the best rose. It's Bulgaria, and the question is for you to find the reliable partner and supplier to give you the pure quality.
Right, and I think we know where it is in Australia, but overseas I'm not sure. I have to look into that actually for my overseas clients. But I really thank you for your time I've taken up. How long have we been talking? For an hour? So I really appreciate it. It's been really informative. So
thank you very much also. I have never been to Australia, but it's on my list. It's definitely on my list. It's on my list.
If you come to Melbourne, you let me know. Well, you will be coming to Melbourne because that's where ABP is.
Yes, well, I'm waiting a little bit more for I have two daughters, 3 and 9. So as soon as the small one is 5 and it's easier you're far away. You are very far away from us.
I know. As Bulgaria for us. So yes.
There may be somebody who doesn't know me. Just of course. Yes.
They're soon going to know your name. They're going to be walking the streets singing your name, Filip.
This is why you look so young, you know.
You're good, Filip. You're good. But you must have been a baby when this farm was growing. 1992, you're saying. So I don't know how old you are, but you don't look, you know.
I'm 43.
Oh, you're 43. So I'm 53. So there's 10 years on us.